Welcome to chapter number 2 of Overlay Network. So let's start. Now here, I want you to understand this basic concept. Although I can skip this, but I want your foundation must be very clear. Setting up Docker Overlay Network is very simple. You just need to give one command and it is going to work. But if you want to troubleshoot your problems, in this case, if you have good foundation knowledge, it is always helpful. And that's why I am going to explain you that how Docker Overlay Network works. So here we are going to start. Docker Overlay Network uses VXLAN. VXLAN means Virtual Extensible LAN to create virtual network. Now VX technology is actually extension of VLAN technology that we have in networking. You don't need to worry about anything. Like if you are not coming from networking background, no, you can still understand the whole process because I am going to make it very easy. We are not going to understand technical stuff about VXLAN. We are just going to understand that how VXLAN is actually working. Okay. So here we are going with the second topic, which is introduction of VXLAN. VXLAN creates layer 2 overlay network on top of layer 3 infrastructure, allowing for a scalable network segmentation and isolation. After virtualization, we are moving a virtual machine from one side to another. Now, in this case, technologies like VXLAN is actually extremely useful. In AWS, when we are setting up peering between two VPCs, VXLAN, type of VXLAN technology is also we are using in the background. Now here, I am going to give you an example which is help you to provide a clear understanding of VXLAN technology. Let's say that a global enterprise has 10 different office sites spread across the various regions. Let's say that in India, there is one company who is having 10 different sites. They have one site in Mumbai, another site in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Trivandrum, like they have sites all over the India. And let's say that they have 10 different sites. Each site has its own local network and server. The company needs to ensure seamless communication, network isolation, scalability for various departments and applications across all of these sites. Here, I have one picture which will provide you clear understanding of the scenario. Now, here I am just using two sites. Here I am talking about Mumbai and Hyderabad because if I am going to draw 10 sites over here, it will definitely confuse you. In this particular picture, we have traditional network. Now, after that, I am going to explain you about VXLAN network as well. So you can clearly understand that how VXLAN can improve communication, network isolation and scalability. Now, if you look at this particular picture, we have Mumbai office and Hyderabad office. Here we have 3 departments as well. Here we have HR VLAN, means HR department, sales department and finance department. As we have requirement of network isolation, we are using traditional network approach of VLAN. VLAN means Virtual Local Area Network. VLAN is used to isolate traffic between different departments. Now, if you look at this picture, here we have one computer from HR is not going to communicate with sales because they are actually in the separate VLAN. Here I have 3 VLAN. Red VLAN we have is for HR, another green VLAN is for sales, and blue VLAN is for finance department. Yes, they all are connected together using single switch, but they cannot communicate with each other because they are in the separate VLAN. Now, we have same VLAN system over here in Mumbai and also in Hyderabad. Here, this computer 192.168.0.2 can able to communicate with 192.168.3.2 because they are in the same VLAN. But here 0.2 cannot communicate with 1.2 even though they are connected with the same switch because they are in the different VLAN. So if you are in the same VLAN, you can communicate with each other no matter you are in the LAN or WAN environment. Now, to set up all this isolated environment, setting up the VLAN is the most important part. If we are talking about traditional network, VLAN cannot cross boundary of layer 3 networking. It means here these two routers are connected using lease line, so we call it like a layer 3 network. Now, the biggest problem with the traditional network is your VLAN cannot cross boundary of your layer 3 network. So, we have to face some challenges. For example, here we have to create red VLAN, sales VLAN and finance VLAN here in Mumbai. Same way, we have to create HR VLAN, sales VLAN and finance VLAN in Hyderabad. Here, all the VLANs are actually separate from Mumbai to Hyderabad or for each location. It means at each and every location, you have to set up VLAN. Now, if you are going to apply any policy, you have to apply this policy for Mumbai location, for Hyderabad location, because VLANs are totally separate identity at each and every site. Of course, VLAN 2 can communicate with VLAN 2. That's sure. Here, VLAN green can communicate with green, blue will communicate with blue. So red, blue, green will be there. But we are creating separate VLAN for each and every locations that we have. If we have policy, we have to apply this policy for Mumbai location, and then we have to go to the Hyderabad and we have to apply this policy for the Hyderabad as well. Now, if you have multiple sites, let's say the 10 or 20 or 100 sites, and then you have multiple VLANs as well, setting up this environment will be complex process. So here, let's understand this using mind map. Network segmentation. You need to create separate VLAN for each department at each site. So here, you have to create red VLAN, green VLAN and blue here in each and every location. For example, VLAN red for HR at site 1, VLAN red for HR at site 2. And if you are using traditional network. Inter-site communication. Enabling communication between these VLAN across the different site involves layer 3 complex routing and VPN configuration. Here you have to create a multiple interface, sub-interface. You have to provide them IP address, and this will be the complex process because all of this VLAN communication are happening through this particular lease line. Policy management, you need to apply network policy and security rules separately at each site because each site's VLAN are not affiliated with the VLAN at another site. They have no communication. This means if you have policy for VLAN 10, you have to apply this policy 10 times at each site. So multiple process will happen over here. Adding new site or expanding existing one required extensive reconfiguration of the network. Network policy and security configuration need to be manually replicated and managed at each site. Let's say that if you have 10 sites and if you are going to add 11th site, then you have to go to the 11th site, you have to create VLAN, you have to apply policy over there because all this process will become manual process. Now, if you are going for the technologies like VXLAN, okay, here we have normal traditional network. That is always there. But in this particular traditional network, we are expanding our VLAN network. Now that's why we are actually expanding this, so we call it VXLAN. And if you look at this here, we have same two endpoints. In terms of VXLAN, we call it virtual tunnel endpoint. So we have VTAP1 and VTAP2. Endpoint must communicate using traditional network, and here we created one tunnel. Now this tunnel, which is used to connect to VTAP, we call it overlay network. When you set up this kind of tunnel, you are actually creating layer 2 overlay network on top of layer 3 network. So layer 3, Mumbai and Hyderabad, is connected to using the traditional layer 3 network, and we created overlay tunnel, and this overlay tunnel is actually layer 2. VLAN is layer 2 technology. So here we are expanding this layer 2 technology. So what will happen, instead of VLAN, now here we will create VNI. VNI stands for Virtual Network Identifier. The biggest advantage of VNI is actually crossing layer 3 boundary. So if you have 3 departments for Mumbai, if you have 3 departments for Hyderabad, you do not need to create separate VLANs for Mumbai and Hyderabad. You just need to create 3 VNI, and this VNI will be replicated to both of this location. If you have 10 location, it will be sync over there as well. So here we have separate VLAN for each and every location, but using VXLAN, we have centralized system and we call it VNI. So once you create this VNI, it will be available at each and every location. Then you just need to assign your computer, and then the communication will happen. Now if you compare this particular option with the VXLAN, here you will get clear understanding about how the things are working.
Sorry guys, sorry to disturb you. I know you all are enjoying the session and suddenly it stopped. But if you want full video, or if you want full Docker course having 130 plus videos including projects, you can become our community member. Enrollment link is in description. Moreover, we also provide 24/7 support, weekly lifetime live session with Bhavesh Atara, updates and completion certification as well. Still you have any queries regarding it, you can contact me on my personal number. Thank you.